Have you ever wondered what goes through a woman's mind when you ignore her? Whether you're just getting to know someone or in a committed relationship, ignoring a lady can have a profound impact on her perception of you. Today, we'll talk about the psychology behind this tactic and uncover the secrets to using it effectively. One scenario where ignoring her is almost always a mistake is during the initial encounter. Whether you've already shown your interest or not interacted at all, giving the cold shoulder at this stage does more harm than good. The initial encounter. Imagine you're at a party or out with friends and you spot an intriguing woman. You've made eye contact, flashed her a smile, and let her know you're interested. Now, conventional wisdom might suggest that ignoring her at this point will make her more attracted to you. However, this approach can backfire spectacularly. When you ignore a woman you've shown initial interest in, she's likely to assume you are just being friendly and have no romantic intentions. This misunderstanding can nip any potential connection in the bud before it has a chance to blossom. On the other hand, if you've been in the same social setting but haven't made any contact with her whatsoever, ignoring her is equally ineffective. In this scenario, she has no way of knowing you're even interested. You're essentially a non-entity in her mind, and no amount of silent treatment will make her magically pursue you. The key takeaway here is that ignoring a woman you've just met or shown interest in can be counterproductive. Instead, consider taking a more proactive approach. Engage her in conversation, build rapport, and let her know you're interested in getting to know her better. Subtlety and confidence are powerful allies in this initial stage. However, once you've successfully sparked that initial connection and exchanged numbers or socials, the ignoring tactic can potentially be deployed much more strategically. The next level. Once you've successfully established a connection and exchanged numbers with a woman, the game changes. In this scenario, ignoring her for a short period can actually work in your favor, provided you handle it correctly. Let's say you've just gotten her number after an enjoyable interaction. Instead of texting her immediately, you decide to play it cool for a couple of days. This strategic move can drive her wild with anticipation and pique her interest even further. By ignoring her briefly, you create an aura of high value and an element of chase. You appear in control and not overly eager, qualities that many women find incredibly attractive. This calculated absence allows her imagination to run wild, wondering what you're up to and when you'll make your next move. However, it's crucial to strike a balance. If you've already given her reason to believe you're genuinely interested, and she's reciprocated those feelings, prolonged ignoring can backfire. She'll start second-guessing herself, wondering if she did something wrong and overthinking every interaction you've had. In this phase, ignoring her for a couple of days can build excitement, but any longer than that, and you risk damaging the budding connection. Remember, the goal is to create a sense of curiosity and anticipation, not confusion or doubt. So, use this strategy judiciously. A brief period of silence can ratchet up the tension and increase her desire to hear from you. But don't overdo it. A well-timed text or call can reignite the spark and propel your connection to new heights. However, as that initial spark develops into a deeper connection over time, the same ignoring tactics become far more precarious. The red flag zone. As your connection with a woman deepens, the dynamics of ignoring her shift once again. If you've been investing serious time and effort into getting to know each other, going on dates, and building a rapport, ignoring her can be a risky move. In this scenario, if you've already displayed red flags, behaviors, or traits that could be considered deal breakers, and then you start ignoring her, she's unlikely to find it attractive. Instead of wondering what she did wrong, she'll likely attribute your absence to those pre-existing red flags. Perhaps you've been inconsistent with your communication, exhibited jealous or controlling tendencies, or displayed a lack of ambition or direction. Whatever the red flags may be, ignoring her at this stage will only reinforce her concerns and push her further away. Similarly, if you're already in a committed relationship and start ignoring your partner without explanation, the consequences can be severe. Initially, She may try to correct her own behavior, assuming she's done something to prompt your withdrawal. However, if you maintain the silence and fail to address the underlying issue, she'll eventually lose patience and walk away. The key lesson here is that ignoring a woman you've already invested time and effort into can backfire spectacularly if you've exhibited red flags or concerning behaviors. In these cases, open communication and addressing the root causes of any issues is far more effective than the silent treatment. However, there is one exception to this rule. If your partner has severely broken your boundaries, treated you with disrespect, or engaged in behavior you consider unacceptable, ignoring her can be a powerful way to create space and prompt her to reflect on her action. But even without major relationship issues, men can find themselves unintentionally ignoring their partners through a phenomenon known as the man cave. The man cave phenomenon. Even the most well-intentioned men can find themselves inadvertently ignoring their partners, often without realizing it. This phenomenon, commonly known as the man cave, is a coping mechanism that many men employ when dealing with stress or emotional turmoil. Picture this: you've had a grueling week at work, butting heads with your boss or grappling with a complex project. The last thing you want to do is rehash the details or dwell on the negativity. Instead, you seek refuge in familiar comforts, gaming, watching sports, tinkering with a project, or simply retreating to your personal space. In these moments, you're not consciously ignoring your partner, you're merely trying to decompress and regain your equilibrium. However, from her perspective, your emotional withdrawal and lack of communication can feel like a personal rejection. Women are highly attuned to emotional cues and changes in the dynamic of a relationship. When you retreat into your metaphorical man cave, she senses the disconnect immediately and her mind starts racing. She may take your withdrawal personally, convincing herself that she's the root cause of your emotional distance. This disconnect can prompt her to overcompensate in an attempt to repair the perceived rift. You may find her showing up unexpectedly, calling more frequently, or insisting on having the talk. She'll become the best version of herself, doing everything in her power to regain your attention and reassure you of her commitment. Whether you're actively ignoring her due to a specific issue or simply retreating into your own space, the effect on her can be remarkably similar. She'll feel the loss of connection acutely and go to great lengths to bridge the gap, often exhibiting behaviors that may seem extreme or irrational to you. The key to navigating this delicate situation is open communication. While your instinct may be to retreat and process your emotions internally, making an effort to explain your need for space and reassure her of your commitment can go a long way in preventing misunderstandings and preserving the emotional bond you share. In contrast, there are also situations where ignoring your partner can be an intentional power play strategy when used judiciously. The power play. While ignoring a woman can be a double-edged sword in certain situations, there are times when it can be a powerful tool in your arsenal. When used strategically and with a clear purpose, this tactic can reignite her interest, prompt positive change, and reaffirm your value in her eyes. One such scenario is when you're dealing with a woman who's become complacent or taken your presence for granted. Perhaps she's grown too comfortable, neglecting the effort she once put into the relationship, or her behavior has become disrespectful or dismissive. In these cases, a well-timed period of ignoring can jolt her out of her complacency and remind her of what she stands to lose. By withdrawing your attention and emotional investment, you create a void that she'll instinctively seek to fill. This sudden absence can be jarring, prompting her to reevaluate her actions and the value she places on your presence in her life. She may become more attentive, affectionate, and appreciative, making a concerted effort to win back your favor and rekindle the spark that initially drew you together. Similarly, if a woman you're dating or in a relationship with exhibits toxic or unacceptable behavior, ignoring her can be an effective way to set firm boundaries. By withdrawing your time and attention, you send a clear message that her actions have consequences and that you refuse to tolerate disrespect or mistreatment. In these instances, your silence speaks volumes. conveying your self-respect and unwillingness to compromise your values. This can prompt her to reflect on her actions and make changes to repair the damage she's caused, or it may ultimately lead to the end of an unhealthy dynamic. Of course, this approach should be used judiciously and with a clear exit strategy in mind. Prolonged ignoring without resolution or communication can breed resentment and further damage the relationship. Ultimately, the power of ignoring lies in its ability to shift the dynamic and reaffirm your value. When used wisely and with a specific goal in mind, it can reignite passion, prompt positive change, or serve as a catalyst for personal growth and self-respect. If you found this breakdown on the psychology of ignoring her helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.